Welcome to today's session, a Tibetan bowl masterclass. We're going to just learn a little bit about the bowls, these beautiful bowls, a little bit about frequency, a little bit about what they're made of, and just some insights into the bowls. So first, I'm just going to give you a little strike of the bowl so you can really hear its frequencies and its vibrations, feel its vibrations. Long, sustained vibrations. The bowl, when struck with full force, will last over 5 minutes. Be vibrating for over 5 minutes. So with this, we're going to talk a little bit about the bowls, their frequencies, and what pertains within them. So many bowls of many different sizes and scales. The larger the bowl, the more sub-harmonic frequencies, the more low frequencies that the bowl can hold. And so with them being multi-layered in their frequency, the deep bowls hold the highest range of undertones, overtones, harmonics, subharmonics, and all of these different ranges of sound. So as we delve into the bowl, and is a bowl specific for its frequency, so each bowl may be measurable as a note. So we could say this bowl is noted at an A or a C, the large bowl at a C sharp or a C or an F sharp. Now, this can translate to many people feeling that's the frequency of that bowl, and so that's a root chakra bowl. This is both true and untrue. So the bowl may be root chakra orientated. It may have the low frequencies, the dominant frequency in that bowl. Its leading tone may be of that note, but actually it has many subtones and subharmonic tones. So it will have a secondary note as well. Now, this secondary note, if you're trying to pick it up with a measuring device, a microphone of some kind, you would probably move it inside the bowl, because from different angles, different frequencies are resonating more. So through this, we can measure what the secondary note would be. And now, for reading the subharmonics and all of the in-between harmonics, overtones and the undertones, we would need a specialist equipment to try and separate these frequencies to pick them up. But we can hear them with the ear and we can feel them with the body. So each frequency can be directed or magnified either through playing another bowl, another instrument, or using the voice is the best way. But this can take a bit of time to learn to understand the language of the bowls, how they speak to you, and learning how to use the voice in a way that speaks to the bowls. So it's a conversation. And through this conversation, we really learn to understand what they have to share with us. The same way we would with a friend or a person. The more time we spend with them, the more we learn to understand them, and we learn their ways that are unique to them, and we learn how to be for them, how to support them individually. So the bowls work much the same way. So when somebody says this bowl is an F sharp or a C sharp, this is the root chakra bowl, there's a truth in that, just a practical sense, it's directly measurable as that. But these are metaphysical instruments. They're multi-dimensional instruments. So there's much more to learn than that within that. So its directory note may be that of the root chakra, but I can address any energy center with this bowl through conscious choice, through heart-based intention and understanding the bowl. So they're multifaceted tools that can be directed in many ways, using awareness, heart-based intention, synced with the breath, creating a sound synced with the breath. Present state awareness from the heart is a beautiful way to direct the bowls. And as we look at all the multifaceted ways to play a bowl, we can strike them like I did with the bowl that you saw there, the large bowls. They're mostly struck to get the really low frequencies and to keep them resonating for a long time. But we can also use the friction mallet, which comes in many forms and shapes. But this is over time, through the friction, the resonance of the friction as we rotate, you can hear it gets louder. And then we can release. You can hear the waves. Then we can reintroduce in a way to bring the sound quicker than the slow coming in. If we're wanting to bring the force of the sound sooner, not abruptly, but with more presence and force, we can gently strike on the way in. Therefore, the sound is louder, much faster. We can also just strike. When striking, we always want to be gentler than we think, because we can always increase the sound, but if we hit too hard and it's jarring, we can't undo this. So better for it to be very soft and think, I want more volume. But I encourage, in the movement, learn to pull away as you strike. So with this, it will be more precise. But the way we can weave the bowls and the sounds together. So if I'm going to place it out of sight, but I can cause this bowl to sing and then weave, and the sound of the other bowl changes its voice as it sings together, much like a choir. When somebody else sings another note, it creates a chord and changes the feeling. And this is how we can work with the bowls in harmony. So as we learn each one's voice and the way it wants to sing, we learn how to make them sing together. Now, as we delve a little bit into the materials of the bowl. Now, the history of the bowl is debatable. Many people say Tibet is the origin of these bowls because it's the first modern recorded data we have of where they came from. But there's many writings and texts and much opinion actually of these things coming from much older civilizations, first discovered in Mesopotamia, even Atlantis. Now this is theorized, a theorized world, a theorized past. Some say it's factual, but there's many opinions, and our modern study does not push to prove these things because it changes the history. So it's a niche thing to follow these histories. But if we date back to the study we do know in Tibet, then they most commonly talk of the 7 metals. Now this 7 metals principle is based on alchemy and the principles of metalworks. So the principle of each metal pertains and connects to a specific planet. And so therefore it carries this energy. So with these frequencies, we can learn to understand through astrology what each frequency may carry. Now, to talk a bit about these metals, they are primarily a copper alloy, so they're mostly copper, usually 80 to 90%. And then the next metal would be tin. So they're mostly copper and tin, so a copper alloy. And then the other frequencies are usually the precious metals, so gold, silver, these beautiful, known to be precious metals, which they don't put them in as much abundance, but they are high frequency metals and highly conductive as well. So gold and silver, for example, is very, very conductive, so carries electrical signal. So therefore, they can be used in this way. So electrical signal, what frequencies does it carry? Now, lead traditionally was always in the bowls because it pertains to its density. If we think about the nature of lead being very, very heavy, what is heaviness to us? It's grounding. When we anchor a ship, we use very heavy metal, so it's anchored, it's not moving anywhere. So the frequency that lead tends to bring through the bowls is a very grounding energy and frequency. Now, in modern bowls, they tend to exclude lead because of its toxic or poisonous nature. We know that lead, when consumed in the body, becomes poisonous, and in relation to this, they stopped putting it into the modern bowls. And actually, in modern bowls, they don't usually add gold, silver. They're usually just copper alloys of some kind. So 2, maybe 3 metals at most. Now, if we look at all ancient cultures, and including alchemy, wizardry of alchemy, which is what we're touching upon up in this mystery school, then the connection between astrology and metalworks, alchemy, is very, very strong. So although in Tibetan lineage we look back and see it in their history, we can find it in Druidic history, we can find it in astrological history, we can find it in the Vedas, in the Indian texts. We find it everywhere we go around the world. We find this knowing of the relationship between the metals, the planets above. Where and why is a big question. Maybe where this arose from, and this is my reflection, but maybe where this arose from was a deeper understanding of the metal and the astrology to be able to weave it together. Maybe it would be that this metal originated maybe in around this planet system, around its environment. If it came from that environment, it holds that frequency. So there's many ways we can pertain to these metals, and we'll go in a much deeper masterclass talking about the specific metals, their specific planets. Here is just an overview to understand what the bowls are made of, a bit of basicness about the frequency and the principles. We're not delving into how to learn or how to of anything really in this. The only suggestion I would put out in this moment is, if you work with the bowls and you don't spend a lot of time just conversating with them or listening to what they have to say, think of it like you're a therapist and the bowls are your client. To really understand them, you listen, and you may ask questions, but listening is the most important thing. We can ask a question with our intention within us. What does this bowl have to teach me? How does it dance? How is its shape? Because the sounds, they carry a shape. So although all bowls resonate in a circular way, omnidirectionally, the sound is going out in all directions always. So it's moving out from a center point omnidirectionally. But they all have a dance and a rhythm, and depending on how they're played as well. So maybe you notice it with this bowl. . 。  . 。 . . 。 . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . So if I was to give a gesture to mirror, they have a swell like pattern to them. So a pulse, shall we say, a rhythm. And this is like waves. Now, we can learn to dance with different bowls between each other's waves. So this is why we need to learn to listen. To make them sing their best together, we learn to listen. And through this listening, it continues to expand, because we notice the spaces in between the rhythm, the spaces in between the pulsing. And it is through this where we learn to dance with the sound. There's so many layers to it, and we're going to delve deeper and deeper each time. But I'm going to just play a little bit of the bowls just to close this session. So yeah, just touching upon also the beautiful work. Many bowls are plain, but many bowls have such beautiful handiwork inside of the Sanskrit. These are ancient mantras, chants, songs, prayers, deities, beings, to represent that which, I mean, look how beautiful this work is, huh? So interestingly, I'll speak on one more thing about the bowls and the history. If you're trying to delve in and research in a modern way, you will come across this idea that the bowls were just originally used for food and for containers, and this is how metal bowls were in Tibet. And over time, they one day discovered, oh, these bowls sound very nice, and they're very specific frequencies. They're also healing tools. Oh, we can use them for healing. Oh, we can use them for meditation. Oh, we can use them for resetting the nervous system, which is quite jestful if we really delve into it. The truth around that is, during invasion, through war and people entering the country, and usually through invasion, they would crush the spiritual backbone. This was the objective, because if you crush the spirit of a nation or of a people's, then you can control and manipulate them more. So as a clever way to stop all of the bowls being destroyed, because they would burn temples, destroy spiritual tools. So through this, what they did with the bowls is they started to put fruit and food inside them, and they would have them displayed in their house in this way. So that through invasion, many of the bowls were preserved and left from being destroyed, many of the antique bowls. Now, those antique bowls are really the powerful, very special bowls, because they were created and tuned by masters of the ear, masters of the energy centers, that tuned them with their ears and with their feeling. Today, we are tuning bowls with a machine and making it, what they say is pitch perfectly accurate, but it's actually missing so much, because the machine doesn't know how to feel. It only knows how to take command. And through this bowl, not just being a thing of sound, everybody who knows has experienced these bowls knows you feel them. You truly feel them on a very, very deep level. Now, in this feeling is all of the secrets. In this feeling is the healing. In this feeling, the vibration, the strength, the power of its resonance is where transformation happens. So a machine is not able, it can listen and it can say what the pitch is, but it can't feel. So the new bowls, although they can sound nice and be meditative, they are missing some of the healing frequencies, some of the true frequencies, through the way it's tuned, but secondly, through the materials, which is what we spoke about. They're lacking many of the materials that hold very specific frequencies. So those frequencies cannot be within the bowl and its sound. So with that, we're going to just receive a little bit of the sound, a bit of the frequency, of the bowls. You can't see all of the bowls because I can't put them into the shot, but you will feel them. Maybe you want to close your eyes for 5 minutes just to receive.
So just taking a few deep breaths and taking this moment just to come back and open the eyes.
So as we bring this masterclass to a close, just an introduction to the Tibetan bowls and their beautiful magic. So you can have a look at the magic of this bowl. This is a 500-year-old antique bowl. Very powerful, very heavy, weighs several kilograms. But yeah, antique, between 400 and 500 years old, around 500 they think. But there's no way to exact date it. But many of the antique bowls that remain, they're anything between 200 and 500 years old. You could still call a 100-year-old bowl an antique or a 60-year-old bowl, but a new antique. So with that notion, with that, we're going to culminate and bring this to a close. Thank you for listening, and I welcome you to the next masterclass. Thank you so much.
Remember to like and subscribe for more content. And if you like the sound of the Musical Mystery School, then check the link in the description or in my bio.